This is the end of the beginning. Welcome to today's show. This is an important one. You want to share this. You will want to share this with other people because it will affect you. Because one way or another, our government is doing everything they can in every state to get smart meters on your home. Now, you might say, well, what's the big deal? Oh, all it means is that the government can check my meter instead of, excuse me, not the government, the electric company, wink, wink, can check my meter without actually having to come to my house. I'm sure you've all seen a guy checking your meter once a month, right? He's out by your meter. You're like, who's this guy on my lawn? Oh, he's checking the meter. Well, that's not going to occur anymore. Don't worry about those people losing their jobs. That's not even an actual concern at this point. The concern is that the smart meters are being put on people's homes. A lot of them don't even know. Some of you have the ability to opt out. And if you do, I highly recommend you opt out. You probably will after seeing this video because there's agendas tied behind the smart meter and what the smart meter has the capability to do. Now, a lot of these smart meters, as I'll show you later in the video, have been combusting, okay? And there's a lot of people out there that believe if they're not using direct energy weapons, well, there are other ways that they can do direct energy weapons, of course, by sending a lot of gigawatts, a lot of electricity to people's smart meters. Thus, what would happen? The house would catch fire. That's right, catch fire. But it's all, of course, in the name of convenience and technology and affordability and how it's great and it's green, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, this ties in to your carbon footprint, which gives the government, the electric company, one and the same, the ability to monitor your carbon footprint at home, which means that they can shut off your power after X amount of usage per day. There'll be a cap on it. That's why they want these on the home. That's why in Canada, a couple of months ago, I covered how the government was trying to give away smart thermostats. Giveaway, not buy. You'd be like, oh, you got to buy that. That's a high-tech Nest, all this stuff, right? People are like, oh, I'd like to get that, but I can't afford that. Or I got to get an install. Well, the government's going to pay for it. So anytime the government wants to pay for it or give it to you for free, you should be suspicious. So why would the government want to give you a thermostat that's a smart thermostat? Because they can control the thermostat. So then when they decide to roll in more of these climate laws and rules, whether you agree or not, they're going to just shut off your power. And like I've said a million times, it's going to be like living in a prison. So let's start with this story. If you haven't heard this story, in Pittsburgh, absolutely frightening. Prayers to all the people affected by it because these are real stories. These are really things that are happening. Now, there's no answer yet. There's rumors that it could have been a coal mine built on, that was underneath the home. Huh? Yeah, that had dynamite in it? Okay. This home just exploded. 5 people were killed. A family was killed. It's absolutely horrifying. But does this look like potentially a smart meter situation?
An urgent investigation is now underway outside of Pittsburgh. A massive explosion and fire rocking a neighborhood. At least 5 people were killed, several others hurt. 3 homes completely leveled. The blast and fire leaving only rubble behind. Debris damaging a dozen nearby structures. The Red Cross and Salvation Army stepping in to help those who are now displaced. Details from ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
Tonight, with 5 people now confirmed dead, there are growing questions about what caused a deadly explosion in a Pittsburgh suburb. Officials say gas was not to blame. A homeowner provided our affiliate WTAE doorbell video capturing the moment this home exploded Saturday morning, leveling 3 homes and damaging at least a dozen others.
It's alerted Rustic Ridge Drive, Brookside Drive, getting a report of multiple people buried under debris, of at least 1 surviving victim. All units requesting fire department step up.
First responders rushing in. Remnants of homes are scattered throughout the area. Cars now charred, debris surrounding this children's playground.
I can remember what these houses look like. Like, I'm shaking. Like, I know what they looked like before, and now it's this, and I just can't believe it. It's unreal.
3 residents were hospitalized. 1 remains in critical condition.
Lindsay, 18 fire departments responded. 57 firefighters were treated on scene for minor injuries. Officials say the investigation could take months, if not years. Lindsay.
So mysterious. Jacqueline, thank you.
So how often do homes just blow up? Are we watching an action movie? Is this, Lethal Weapon? The home's just blowing up on the spot? This is the capability that the government has when they put smart meters on your home. Okay? They can fry your home. And people out there are like, they wouldn't do that to me. Oh yeah, go ask Maui. Because if you don't believe that Maui was a controlled operation, then you're out of your gourd, because we could clearly see that trees aren't burnt down. We could even see the media staying away from the story because the media can't even push this, they don't want to bring more attention to it because they don't want more people to get suspicious of just common things like why all the trees are still standing and all the buildings are down when they told us it was a wildfire, right? Oh, the trees were moist. There's moisture in the trees. That's the Democrat excuse for it. Well, nobody's buying it, okay? So they don't want to bring much attention to it. But let me show you some of these clips of smart meters and the things that have been going on over the last 10 years where they've been, what I say, illegally installing these on people's property. They tell you in some states you could opt out. They don't even tell you when they're going to show up and put them on. They just show up and put them on. And you have to be aware of what your meter looks like or you wouldn't even know that they put it on your home. That's right. Yeah. And then when you call to get it removed from some of the stuff I've read, oh yeah, there's a waiting list to get it taken out. And they never show up and remove it because they want these on everyone's home because they could do things like you're about to see. Take a look.
A faulty CPS electrical meter is to blame for a house fire this morning. A malfunction caused the meter to explode and start sparking around 2:30 on West Wildwood. Firefighters were able to get into the home's attic and stop the fire from spreading. The family will be displaced until the fried meter is repaired.
Nearly every home in the metro has one, but the devices used to track your electricity could suddenly catch fire and put you and your family at risk. 41 Action News investigator Andy Alcock uncovered the possible hidden danger and went to get answers from KCP&L.
Kansas City Power and Light is at the tail end of a 2.5-year project to install more than 700,000 smart meters across the metro like this one. It's a small part of the billions of dollars utilities have invested across the U.S. in smart meters. But there are serious concerns one Kansas City man experienced firsthand. The burn marks are visible on Waverly Galbraith's Kansas City home. Here's what's left of the smart meter where the July fire started. These pictures show what his house looked like after the fire. Galbraith wasn't home when it started.
I got a call from a neighbor that said he said my house was on fire. But when I arrived, I found out that the meter had exploded.
A Kansas City Power and Light spokeswoman says the utility is investigating the fire, but she says this type of issue is rare in this area. KCP&L Vice President Chuck Casely's statement says, in part, out of more than 700,000 meters KCP&L has installed, we are only aware of a handful of meter malfunctions. There are multiple smart meter makers and different models. The company KCP&L uses has had past issues in other places. Despite few problems here, hundreds of thousands of smart meters have been recalled in the last several years across North America. And hundreds of fires have broken out, including in California, Texas, Florida, Nevada, Illinois, and across Canada.
It really is a very dangerous issue and should be treated as a real unprecedented emergency in your area.
Professor Curtis Bennett is in an ongoing Canadian legal battle over smart meters. Bennett sent us these thermal images showing a dangerous meter connection running too hot and a normal one.
Now you've got this plastic piece of junk on their property, and that's actually what's burning inside that meter base with the wires.
But Casely says KCP&L has had a total of 6 problems out of more than 700,000 meters. The utility has returned a couple meters which have overheated to their supplier. California insurance adjuster Norman Lamb currently has 7 open smart meter fire claims. Of the dozens of smart meter fires he's investigated, he says overheating is the major issue.
Sparking. They are manufacturing too much heat.
Why would America's utilities spend billions of dollars to install smart meters? The old ones with the dials, called analog meters, only recorded electricity usage. Smart meters transmit your usage information to the power company. Canadian Brian Thiessen has spent hundreds of hours over 5 years researching smart meters. He's produced a video.
These fires are going to continue to happen because, again, the basic laws of electricity are being violated.
But KCP&L's statement says, at this point, we have found nothing that leads us to believe there is a problem or safety issue with the new meters. Galbraith has a different take. He was without power for over a month after his home's smart meter fire. He says he's lucky the wood-shingled home didn't go up in flames. Should homeowners be concerned in your judgment?
I think so. I really do.
About 2,700 homes near Mahwah, New Jersey have the state's first smart power meters, the latest gadget used by utilities to track how often the lights are on.
The smart meter is essentially a mini computer, if you will.
Unlike meters on most homes, smart meters send data from your home back to the power company every 15 minutes. Utilities don't just learn how much power you use, but can be alerted in real time to an outage caused by bad weather. The smart meter's ability to talk back to the utility has some people concerned information about their lifestyle and habits at home could fall into the wrong hands.
We will not be able to understand or tell what appliances are being used within the home, how much each appliance has consumed as far as energy goes.
Rockland Electric's a subsidiary of Orange and Rockland and say this is good. Some consumer groups disagree.
I don't know what their capabilities are. We do know that some smart meters produce data that has enough granularity that experts are able to go in and tell what kind of appliances people are using.
Despite concerns from groups like the ACLU, the utility says it's built cybersecurity into the meters and the software that runs them, but information's still being gleaned.
They're building a profile on the consumer, not only their usage, but the time of day.
Rockland Electric says its privacy policy prohibits building consumer profiles or selling a customer's data. Clark Foraker, CBS 2 News.
And New Jersey Assemblyman Ronald Dance has sponsored legislation that would force utilities to reveal what type of data they keep and which third parties would have access to it.
So they have the ability to do this stuff, right? We saw the explosion in the beginning, which was absolutely ridiculous. You know, something like they act like that's an everyday occurrence. Oh, the house just blew up. Oh, yeah, because we all see that, right? Everybody in every town, once a week, we see somebody's house. Oh, did you hear about Doug? What about Doug? Oh, his house blew up. It just exploded. It didn't catch fire. It exploded like a bomb. Oh, okay. Or you see the smart meters, people's homes are just catching fire, right? Oh, the meters are catching fire. That's normal, right? We've all seen that before. Huh? Nobody's ever seen it before. Not until smart meters were installed. And then what do they tell you? Oh, okay. Now, another thing with the smart meter that needs to be mentioned is the fact that if you have an EMF reader and you could read frequencies, people are getting microwaved by these things. That's right. So you could be in a home where you're suffering from severe anxiety or severe depression or migraines, things like that, that would be from, radiation, etc. Well, you might just have a smart meter installed and not know it. You're in an apartment complex, probably have one. Okay? Get an EMF reader. You'll read the frequencies that are coming out of these things. They'll never tell you that, and they'll tell you you're a conspiracy nut, even though, the quote-unquote science would prove it, right? So we hear all this stuff about mental health, which I'll do in a separate video. You're talking about mental health. Everything's mental health, right? Why do you think they're saying that? Not just because they're driving everyone nuts with the chaos that they're creating and the insanity that they're glorifying, but because of these towers, these 5G towers that are emitting radiation, and because of these smart meters that are directly doing it right on your property into your home. So people are fatigued, people are depressed, people have anxiety, people have bad thoughts. Why? Well, they don't realize that they're getting poisoned by EMF, right? Or by these frequencies, and they need an EMF reader so they can track these frequencies. But they don't, and they don't believe that the government would ever do it. And even if you tell them, they're like, well, what am I going to do about it? Well, there's many things you could do about it if you have the ability to opt out. But again, you got to get somebody to be able to remove it. So if you're somewhere and you got one that isn't a smart meter, don't let them come and put one on. So that brings me into the really just more juice of the story, which people don't seem to get, is that by having a smart meter, the government is able to access your meter. Okay, so people are like, I don't know, what does that mean? What do I care? Well, do you like electricity? Do you like taking dumps and being able to flush? Do you enjoy showers? Do you enjoy using your refrigerator? Do you enjoy your stove? Okay. All of these things are going to be tracked by a carbon footprint, okay? This is a way that they're going to be able to monitor how much electricity you're using every day. So when they create a couple more catastrophes here, like they did in Maui in the next couple of years or months, they're going to come out and say, look, the time is now. We can't do this anymore. We've got to step in. Carbon emissions have to be lowered or the Earth's going to burn, right? That's what they're going to say to everybody. Everyone's going to go, oh, okay, not realizing that the real carbon emission they have a problem with is you. Okay? They're going to go, okay, we got to do something about it. Whatever, we got to give tax money. No. Your way of life is going to be taken from you. So you're going to get a cap. You're going to get a limit on your carbon footprint, on your carbon, how much, right? And they're going to be able to track that in many ways. But starting in your home, the other ways I've covered with your credit card, all this stuff we've heard of, like Visa, with the carbon card, your bank account, what you're buying, monitoring what states you're going to with your car, because your car is going to be monitored, et cetera, going to work, all this stuff is going to be banned. But starting at your home, right? Because it's going to be like prison, like I keep saying. Lights out, 8 o'clock, yeah, lights out. You're going to be allowed to use X amount of electricity a day. That's what this is about, okay? So you might say, oh, what's the big deal? I don't use a lot anyway, yeah? Okay, next time you do nothing during the day, maybe use the stove once, you go to shower. Well, guess what? The shower is going to turn off in 2 minutes. You better take a 30-second shower because by that point, you'll be maxed for the day. And when you're maxed for the day, your meter, your smart meter, which is going to be set, is going to shut off and everything's going to be turned off, all because of your carbon footprint. For those of you wondering about the carbon footprint, here it is.
We're developing through technology an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
This is you. You've probably been hearing a lot about climate change and how you should reduce your carbon footprint. But what is that exactly? Just like an actual footprint, it's a mark you leave upon the environment. No, not with your shoes, but with every action that releases carbons. Those are the harmful gases, such as CO2, which are pumped out by burning fossil fuels like oil or gas. The more fuel you use, the bigger your footprint will be. You may think that by driving your car, the only carbons you release come from the engine, but no. Consider the carbons that are emitted just to get fuel into the tank. From the energy needed to extract the oil from underground, the pollution caused by transportation and refinement, to the final delivery to your local petrol station. Not to mention the CO2 released by manufacturing your car in the first place. More than you thought, huh? So unless you live in a cave, you and everything you own has its own carbon footprint. Read a book? Printing and distributing. It uses energy. Brush your teeth, and your utensils will have a history in a factory. Even something as basic as an apple could have traveled hundreds or even thousands of polluting miles to end up in your local supermarket. You see, it's pretty much impossible to leave no carbon footprint behind, but that's no reason to stop trying. Think about your actions and choices, and you'll be able to reduce your personal mark after all. That's how you really put the boot into climate change.
So that's the carbon hell, and that's what this is all about. It's all about global enslavement. How else would they enslave people unless they got everybody to get their technology where they can control all the stuff in your home, just like if you were in a prison cell. They can't imprison all of us. There's not enough prisons, unless they plan on building them up in Canada, like I think they might be doing for North America. But take that out of it and just think about your home and how much surveillance is in your own home. You got the Ring on your home. You've got the Alexa in your home. You got a smart TV. You got a phone. You got a laptop. We're all screwed, right? Might have the cameras covered, but the audio is still there. But on top of that, not just the surveillance aspect, they want to have control over what you're doing, your movements in your home. And this is how they'll do it. So anything that's plugged into a wall, doesn't matter if you have solar power outside and and you're not using gas or any of that stuff. You're just using solar power. You're like, I'm green friendly. I've got solar power. It doesn't matter. Okay. These are the same people we're talking about blocking the sun, by the way. How's your solar panel going to work? Your solar panel will still be connected to a smart meter. Through your smart meter, they will shut you off every day. There will be a daily allowance, a daily cap. Maybe they'll do a monthly one so people won't even realize it. They'll use it all in 3 days and then they'll have 27 days of pitch black and no electricity. So then what would that cause the person to do? Well, the person's going to have to go to their neighbor's house and squat over there and et cetera, right? No private property. You see how this is all working in their favor? And they want everyone to buy into this with the climate. It's all a scam. It's a control scam. People don't realize this because they're naive and they trust these people. How can anybody trust these people? I don't care what your political affiliation is. All the Democrats are like, Trump's the worst president ever. We can't trust him. Fine. That's fine. And obviously every Republican can see that Biden, everybody with eyes can see this is the worst acting president in the history of mankind. So nobody trusts the government. The Democrats don't trust the government, the Republicans. So then why would we trust these people when it comes to the climate? Oh, well, that's different. They all care about nature. Oh, they fly around in private jets and they get, use the most carbon emissions of anyone. They still eat meat, et cetera, right? And I love that they tie meat into it because they know eating meat is healthy, because it is. They tie that into it, and you don't have to eat meat if you don't want to eat meat. But I'm just saying, they don't want you to eat meat because they don't want you to have the proper nutrients. They want to weaken people. They want that soylent plant crap inside everybody's bodies, right? So, of course, they figured out a way to tie meat into it. It's unbelievable. Like as if you went and hunted a deer in your backyard and, ate the deer for dinner or whatever you hunted, right? Because at some point, everyone's going to end up having to hunt because there's going to be no food. But that'll be carbon emission, of course, right? You'd say, huh? How? They'd be like, well, with the factories, with the cows, there's too much carbon emissions. Okay, so what about if you hunt? Wouldn't that be helping? Because the deer breathes and there's carbon emission, right? Oh, no, that won't be helping. Why? And then they just run out the door. They don't want you to eat meat, right? They don't want you to eat meat. They don't want you to live healthy, and they don't want you to be free. That's what this is all about. That's what the climate agenda is about in a nutshell. But people just hear it, and that's what's scary about it, especially even Republicans, conservatives in Congress. They're pushing this too. They're just like, well, we're not a part of the climate cult, but we do need to do something about it. Just like with the magic potion, right? Oh, we think everyone should get it, but we don't think it should be forced on you. They're all working together, okay? And the only way to stop it is if the people band together and don't put up with it. But I don't understand. Well, I do understand, I guess, but it's amazing to me that people can't see through it. What I don't understand is that people actually are supporting of this government. I don't care what your affiliation is. These people couldn't, even though I fully believe that they're playing a role and they're doing this on purpose and they're acting this way. I mean, how could anybody, even with the acting that's going on, support this? It's utter insanity. And you might say, oh, well, they're communists. That's right. They don't even know. Do they know that communism is enslavement? Apparently not. So the smart meter has the ability to do these things. They could use direct energy weapons. They can microwave you through it, sending large amounts of electricity into the box, causing the box to catch fire. Of course, we've heard stories out there too of people who are liable. The insurance company won't cover it because, well, even though the box caught fire, your wiring in the home is the reason, right? And there's other things you could do. You can get EMP shields and things like that to try to prevent them from sending massive surges of electricity into your home or power surges, you know what I mean? All that type of stuff. But at this point, it's just insane that they're getting away with this, but they are. A reminder, check out my other channels if you haven't yet. Please subscribe to them now. I need everybody's help to get over there and subscribe. This channel will be gone soon. So please do me that favor now. I also have a Patreon for anyone that wants to support this work. If you think this work is worth $1, then support $1. Some people have done more than that, which I greatly appreciate. It takes a lot of time and effort to do multiple videos a day, but I'm doing my best to do it. I thank everyone again for being here. God bless all of you and your families.